Hello and welcome to the Created to Write podcast. If you have been following this for a little while, please hit that like and subscribe button. And this is going to be a really, really fun chat with Kiara. So make sure you share it with a friend. Hi, Kiara. Welcome to my show. Please tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for having me. My name is Kiara, and I am a writer and editor. And I love my job.
Awesome. Awesome. So, what were you first? Were you a writer first or an editor first?
I was a reader first,
Uh huh.
which you definitely need to be a reader to be a writer and an editor.
Yes.
And I remember reading Little Women as a child. My mum gave me an audiobook version, and I listened to it over and over and over again. I was in love with it. I fell in love
Mm.
with reading through Jo March and Anne Shirley from Anne of Green Gables.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had the
Absolutely.
reading bug. And I think once you read a lot, the urge to write just kicks in.
Mm-hmm. And not everybody is an editor. You're an editor as well.
I am, yes.
What sparked you to want to do both, I guess?
That is a great question. I like literary analysis and I like grammar. And I love a good story and I love knowing how the good story works.
Mm-hmm.
I love all the theory and I love all the techniques. And because I was reading so much, I thought, maybe an editor is the job for me. And I tried a few different jobs and thought about what I wanted to study. And my mum kept saying to me, you should work with books. You should have a job with books. And she kept nudging me and she kept saying, books should be your career. You like books. And after she said that a few hundred times, and I realized that Jo March was a writer and Anne Shirley was a writer, and I enjoyed reading about writers, I thought, maybe this should be my job. And it is, and it's a great job.
Awesome. So, do you have writer's block ever? And if so, how do you push through?
That is a great question. Um, my answer is plan. I, if I have writer's block, I know that I have not planned what I am going to write. I have not planned it well. So my advice to anyone who has writer's block would be make a plan. Go back to your outline, see what it says. Planning for me is really key because as soon as I know I don't know what to write, I know I haven't outlined enough. There are some writers that
Our
pants,
pantsers.
pants, pants their way through and they rely on instinct. Um, I'm not one of them. I'm not saying that that is wrong, but for me, I know without a shadow of a doubt, if I'm stuck, I need to plan.
So plan more. Yeah, I am a pantser, and I end up with one big mess at the end. But that's the way I write, and I love doing it that way. It's the fun of the journey. So,
It
how do you
is.
know? Like, obviously, my draft is nowhere near ready because I'm a pantser. How do you know when the book is ready, like to publish?
Another great question. My advice would be when your professional editor says so,
Uh-huh.
which is probably not the answer that some people are looking for, but
So, not when your mum
if you
says it's
are
good to go.
going to be published, you need an editor. We write so that other people can read what we have written.
Mm.
And the writer knows what they're going to say. They know what they want to say. So what they have written in their mind is more likely to say what they think it means. But
Mm.
the editor has a fresh set of eyes, and that is exceptionally valuable. And
Mhm.
not just any set of eyes. Editors study writing and editing and publishing at university. And we spend years immersed in learning how to write and how to effectively communicate. And
Mm.
that, in my opinion, is such a valuable tool for any writer.
Mm.
And
And
in terms of being a little bit scared to publish, talk to an editor is my advice, truly.
yeah.
We want to help you.
Mm.
I like to say that editors are book midwives. We aren't the mum, it's not our baby, but we help bring it into the world and we want to take care of it. And we want to take care of our authors. That is a big part of our job, is
Mm.
actually, in my mind, really taking care of people because a person has written this and people will read this.
Mm.
So, not only how do we effectively communicate, but how do we take care of each other within that process?
I love that analogy that you're like a midwife. It's an awesome analogy. So, where did you study for those people who are interested in becoming an editor? Where did you study?
I studied a Bachelor of Media and Communications at the University of New England, and my major was in writing and publishing. And I am also a member of the Australian Institute of Professional Editors, that's IPED, um, and they do a lot of professional development, um, which is another excellent avenue to pursue if you want to be an editor, because it's really editing focused, whereas a Bachelor of Media and Communications with a major in writing is very writing focused. And of course, they are incredibly linked, and always will be, but they are slightly different skills.
Mm-hmm.
And my advice would be focus on both
Mm.
and work on two specific skill sets. one, one is literary analysis, because those are more or less the first two stages of the editing process. There are four stages: appraisal, substantive editing, line editing, and proofreading. Appraisal is where your editor reads your whole manuscript and gives you a report back that says, this, this was a strength, this was a weakness, you might want to develop this character, or this seems to come out of nowhere. They're going to give you a really broad bird's eye view of your book, and that skill is analysis.
Mm.
And then structural editing is where we apply all the things that are in the editorial letter and we fix pacing issues or plot holes or any big major structural thing. This is not typos.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next stage is line editing. And that's what people think editing is. They think it's a red pen and pointing out all your typos and all your little mistakes. And it's a very important part of the editorial process, but there is no point editing a section that actually doesn't belong.
Mm.
So there's a very logical flow on how we work our way through the process. And then proofreading is everything present and correct.
Mm-hmm.
Very few changes should happen in the proof. But what we
Mm.
need to make sure is everything in the table of contents in the book. Do the numbers match? Are there any other little tiny, tiny typos that we've missed, or formatting errors, or things like that? And that is the proofreading. And one thing I have noticed as an editor is writers aren't quite sure of the difference between a copy edit or a
Mm.
line edit and a proofread. And if you ask just for a proofread and your book needs a copy edit, your editor will have to come back and say, I think you need a copy edit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Makes sense. I have done some proofreading and I have gone back to the author and said, I think it needs some more work. There's flaws. Yeah.
But I think it's also important to remember that it doesn't have to be perfect from the get-go. This is the
Mm.
point of editing,
Mm.
is we refine and we learn and we practice and we improve it. And so I really encourage people who are scared of editing. I say, it is scary. You're giving your work to someone, but this person should be the one taking care of it. They are your book midwife.
Yes.
So who do you want to hear these suggestions from? And when you get an editorial suggestion, beg your pardon, I would recommend that authors think, why is the editor suggesting this edit? Because there is a decent chance that if your editor thinks of that, your readers will think of that. And if you come across an edit where you think, oh no, I don't like that at all, I don't want that at all, I think it's important to think through why. And your editor is going to want to know why. Not because they think they're right and you're wrong, but if we know why not, we can tailor our future suggestions to match you more specifically, or we can make sure we can help you craft it in such a way that what you were trying to achieve that we missed becomes very clear.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And tell me, Kiara, what have you learned through connecting with other readers, authors, editors?
I have learned so much. I read a little piece of advice very early on in my career. I was reading a book and it popped up and said, make friends. Don't make connections, make friends. And that is such good advice because when you meet fellow writers in your genre or in your community, when you're in the bookstore, you're each other's competition. And that seems really, really scary. But then you realize that you're all actually on the same team and you're all striving for the same goal. And they can be such valuable allies. And they're people that have a lot in common with you. And it's a great chance to just meet people that are like you.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to meeting readers, thank them. They have paid to read your writing, and they have set aside time in their lives to read what you have to say. And I think there's a mutual respect in that. And I think that's really special. And it's just so special. It's like, wow, you took time out of your life to read something that I wrote. And we may not have met. And there's some special connection between author and reader.
Yeah, absolutely. So true. So true. And it is really special to connect with somebody who has loved your work. And the other side is it's fun to hang out with other writers. I love it. So tell me, has been the highlight of your career so far?
That is a great question. There is a book that is very, very special to me, and I actually have it here. It's Jen by Jeanette Bishop, and edited by Meredith Reski and Eliza Chenoweth. And that Jen was my first book as an editor. And there is something so incredibly special about being trusted with somebody's writing. And you end up with this unique connection to the person whose writing you edited. You have lived their life through their words. And it is so special. And even though I sit at my desk alone and edit and read and write alone for the most part, writing and editing and reading are about people and connections with people. And that is such a highlight. How could it not be?
Yeah.
And I think people think that writers and editors and lots of readers are introverted, but there is nothing that can replace a connection with another human.
So true. We were designed for connection, and it does get a little bit lonely sitting at your desk. Another reason that I'm doing these so that I get to hang out with friends. So, all you who are watching, yeah, I'm doing this for me because I like to hang out with my authorly friends. So, thank you for joining me today, Kiara. and all of your pearls of wisdom. A lot of people who are wannabe writers or just new at writing are watching this. So, what tips would you give them?
Great question. My first piece of advice would be read as much as you can, particularly in your genre, but not exclusively in your genre. Read as much as you can so that you get a sense of how a good story is crafted and how it is best communicated. And my next piece of advice would be learn the craft, learn about writing, talk to fellow writers, attend courses, watch videos, read as much as you can about writing. There are some great books about writing out there. Then you actually have to write, and it's not going to be perfect, and it's going to be messy, and you might hate it. You might think this is the worst thing anyone has ever written, but it's probably not. And you can't edit a blank page. And every time you write, you practice that writing skill. And the more you write, the better you will get at it. And simply, truly, you cannot edit a blank page. You have to start somewhere. And if you write something, put it away, come back to it 10 years later and go, oh, I forgot about this. Maybe I will keep writing. You can. It's not a sprint. It is a journey. And I honestly hope that everyone who writes loves it. Hopefully, write with the intention that someone will read your work.
Yes.
In terms of anyone who wants to become an editor, as I said before, read as much as you can in many different genres and connect with fellow editors, ask questions, just make general conversation with people, ask what they've been reading, and you will be amazed at how quickly you become connected to other people and how generous people are. People are so generous with their time, with their knowledge, and I have had so many incredible people encourage me in both my writing and editing journeys, and it's really special. And I hope to pay it forward and encourage someone else. So my advice would be join an editorial society as well. So as I mentioned before, there is the Institute of Professional Editors, and they have a branch in every state. So get connected to your state, and also join some writers' associations, like Amiga Writers, which is the group that we met in, Michelle and I, and just be part of the community. And the best way to be a part of a community is to serve within it and to show up.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. So much gold in what you have said. And if you're still watching, please remember to share this with somebody who will enjoy it and hit that like and subscribe button. I'm going to put all of Kiara's links so that you can reach out to her as well. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Michelle.
You're welcome.